Hello friends, today I am explain horror movie named Bhoot Bangla. I hope you like it. Let's go now. Without further delay. The film begins in a small, remote village called Mangalpur, where a spooky atmosphere is felt from the very first moment. One night, 4 young men arrive in the village to attend a friend's wedding. However, due to heavy rain, they are forced to stop midway and decide to take shelter at the railway station. To pass the time, they notice an old man sitting nearby, who has lit a fire to keep himself warm. Without much thought, they join him. Slowly, a conversation begins. They tell him they have come to Mangalpur for a wedding. During the talk, one of the boys jokingly mentions a scary legend associated with the village, that whenever a wedding used to take place, a mysterious demon would come and abduct the bride on the wedding night. The 4 friends ask the old man if these are just rumors. The man stays silent for a moment, then speaks in a low voice, "This is not a story. It is the truth, a terrible truth that changed the fate of this village." He then begins to narrate a grim tale from many years ago. In ancient times, in and around Mangalpur, a demon would take away the bride and groom on the night of their wedding, and no trace of them would ever be found. However, not everyone believed in these stories. Some dismissed them as mere superstition. On one such occasion, a group decided to go ahead with a wedding despite the fear. The ceremony was held with great pomp, and 12 people left happily afterward. But as they were passing through the Panch forest, a tree fell across the road, forcing them to go through the forest on a Tuesday. They stopped to rest, and in the darkness of the forest, a black shadow appeared. It suddenly fell upon everyone, claimed many lives, and vanished into the night, taking the bride with it. This incident spread terror throughout the region, and fear gripped the villagers. The story then shifts to London, where the family of Dr. Bashir lives. He has 2 children, Arjun, played by Akshay Kumar, and Meera. Meera is in love with Rahul, and both families are preparing for their wedding. At this time, Dr. Bashir leaves for Australia on work, leaving Arjun and Meera alone at home. Suddenly, a lawyer arrives at their house with shocking news. Their grandfather was Dushman Maharaj, and according to his will, his entire estate has now been transferred to their name. The siblings are stunned, as they had never even seen their grandfather. They try to contact their father, but he is unreachable as he is on a flight. Overjoyed by this unexpected inheritance, Arjun decides to have his sister's wedding in the family mansion. He plans to go to India and heads to Mangalpur. On the train, he meets a girl named Priya, and they grow fond of each other. Though they part ways, it becomes clear that their destination is the same, Mangalpur. Arjun reaches the village and goes to his ancestral bungalow, where he meets Shambhu Babu, an elderly caretaker who has looked after the mansion for years. He shows Arjun around and makes a special request, but Arjun doesn't take it seriously and begins repairing the bungalow. Soon, he starts preparations for his sister's wedding and even hires a wedding planner. But when the villagers learn that a wedding is being planned in that bungalow, the workers flee in fear. Even Shambhu Babu warns him about the curse, that every bride who has married from this house has been taken away. Arjun dismisses this as superstition, but Shambhu Babu then reveals the real story behind Vidhuzar. He says that centuries ago, a child was born from the union of an Ahar Kanya and a Divputra. Neither the gods nor the Ahars wanted the child to live. However, his mother saved him and took him to Enkar's master, Enkarta. There, the child grew up and, after severe penance, received a boon from Shoji that made him nearly immortal. This powerful being came to be known as Vidhuzar, a terrifying monster that preys on newlyweds. Not only that, but he also uses darkness to command a dreadful swarm of bats. Taking the help of darkness, he created a terrifying swarm of bats and attacked the gods. But surprisingly, no god could face that warrior. Seeing the seriousness of the situation, all the gods prayed to Lord Vishnu. Hearing their prayers, Vishnu Ji devised a unique plan. He sent an Apsara, celestial nymph, to earth, and she met Vidhuzar. The demon, upon seeing the beautiful woman, was enchanted and fell in love with her at first sight. This was the opportunity the Apsara had been waiting for. She told Vidhuzar that if he truly wanted her, he would have to marry her. The wedding day seemed like a normal ceremony, but in reality, it was a trap. As soon as the rituals began, the Apsara hid a dagger behind her. When she garlanded the groom, she stabbed him with the dagger. However, he caught her hand, and the wound from that strike was so deadly that it turned him pale. It was as if she had killed him with her own hands. This was possible because she had received a boon that she could only kill Vidhuzar with her own hands or her own fingers. Due to this, the demon was finished. But even after his death, his soul did not find peace. At the place where his body fell, some people who believed in black magic built a temple in his honor. They began worshipping him and were united by one goal. They believed that if Vidhuzar could be brought back to life, he would fulfill all their wishes. To stop this dangerous undertaking, the divine Apsara who had killed Vidhuzar took the form of a giant bull and stationed herself outside the temple, determined to prevent his return forever. Since then, that temple and that curse have remained in Mangalpur, witnessing a doomed fate. But Vidhuzar's soul had not fully settled. It is still wandering on this earth, and because he was killed by a bride, the fire of revenge has ignited within him. This is the reason why he makes every new bride his victim, as if he is taking revenge for the betrayal he suffered. Now, when Shambhu Babu tells this entire story to Arjun and Jagadish, Arjun dismisses it as superstition and sticks to his decision to get his sister married in this bungalow. Shambhu Babu tries to stop him again and again, but Arjun gets angry and tells him to leave. If you like this video, then please like and subscribe. After that, the story takes a lighter turn when Rajpal Yadav enters. From his past, we see some light-hearted incidents, but at the same time, the atmosphere of the bungalow gradually becomes scary. Strange noises start happening at night. Sometimes someone feels a shadow near them, sometimes someone suddenly falls out of bed, and sometimes it feels like someone is pulling their leg. All these signs indicate that there must be some ghost in the bungalow. Then one night, a very terrifying sound is heard. Rajpal Yadav, who is sleeping in his room, suddenly wakes up. A shadow appears in front of him, which gradually takes control of his body. It seems he is no longer in his own senses. He unconsciously leaves the bungalow and starts walking towards the forest. Arjun sees him from a distance and, along with Jagadish, follows him into the forest. When they reach there, they both try to stop Rajpal Yadav. But at that time, Rajpal is under the influence of some other power. He tells them that they are standing right in front of the temple of Vidhuzar. That temple is nearby. Both of them see the temple with their own eyes. Seeing all this, fear begins to appear on the faces of Arjun and Jagadish. At that moment, suddenly a swarm of bats starts hovering around the three of them, spreading darkness and fear. Terrified, they all run away from there and return to the bungalow. After that, everything seems normal for a few days, like the calm before the storm. Then, as soon as they pick up the phone, they get very angry and scold Arjun for going to the village without telling them. Arjun tells them the whole story and sticks to his decision that he will get his sister married there, even though his parents advise him to at least meet Mukh the head of the ashram near the village. Arjun agrees to this suggestion because the humiliation he has suffered so far has scared him inside. He reaches the ashram and asks the priest about Vidhuzar. The priest confirms his words and also tells him that his grandfather, Dushmant Maharaj, was a great scholar who taught him. But at the same time, he sends one of his disciples along with Arjun to inspect the bungalow. As soon as the disciple reaches the bungalow, he senses that there is an evil force there. When he tries to open a closed door, he fails, but as soon as he tries to peek inside, a certain force throws him back. Seeing this, everyone gets scared. They set out, but on the way, the weather suddenly turns bad. Black clouds cover the sky, heavy rain begins, and the path becomes dangerous. At the same time, they are attacked by a demon from a distance. Finally, they reach a temple, but as the demon is about to enter, a sharp piece of iron flies by and hits it. This gives Arjun a glimpse of the demon, and he is completely stunned. Out of fear, he somehow reaches back to the bungalow, but even there he does not find peace. A black shadow attacks him and makes him wander here and there. Somehow, He protects himself using the light of his phone and spends the whole night in his car. The next day, both of them meet the priest and tell him the whole story. This time, the priest says in clear words that this marriage must either be postponed or held outside the village. The priest also learns a shocking truth through his sadhana, spiritual practice. In order to bring Vidhusar back to life, 13 new brides would have to be sacrificed, and only then could he return to this world again. On the other hand, Arjun, along with his father and his wife, reaches his grandfather's other house, where he tries to steal the key to the locked room where the puja is held. The caretaker there categorically refuses to give him the key and asks him to leave. The matter escalates and a fight starts between the two. Just then, a voice comes from inside, and Dushmat Maharaj himself, whom everyone had thought was dead, comes forward. Seeing this, both Arjun and his father are shocked. The truth comes out that Dushmat Maharaj was not dead, but had spread false news of his death. In anger, Dushmat Maharaj points a gun at Arjun and Vajudavakarya, his father, and tries to convince them to leave, but he is not ready to listen to anyone. He repeatedly says that he only cares about his son's life. Hearing this, many questions start arising in Arjun's mind. If his father is standing there, then which son is Dada talking about? And why is his father calling him Guruji? To get answers to these questions, Arjun decides to know the truth from his father. Finally, Karvas and Devakarya call Mukh Purohit and reveal a truth to Arjun that changes his entire life. He tells him that he is not Arjun's real father and is not Dushmat Maharaj's real son either. Actually, Arjun's real father's name was Madhav, who? The story goes into flashbacks, revealing that Dushmat Maharaj was a great priest and had many disciples, but two of them were the most special, Vasudevakarya and his own son, Madhav. Both were his disciples and were very devoted to him. Then, a young woman named Meera came to his ashram and started learning from him. When Madhav found out the truth about Meera, he could not bear it. His love turned into madness, and he became obsessed with getting Meera at any cost. In this madness, he chose a dangerous path. He started worshipping Vidhusar and began performing dark rituals to gain power. When Dushmat Maharaj came to know about this, he reached there to stop him, but by then it was too late. Madhav was not able to fully bring Vidhusar back to life, but under the influence of his sadhana, he himself became possessed by Vidhusar's spirit. Dushmat Maharaj asked his son the reason for his actions, and Madhav openly told him that he loved Meera and wanted to marry her. Dushmat Maharaj knew that Meera was in love with Vasudevakarya, but for the happiness of his son, he took strict action against Vasudevakarya. He went to the temple and asked his guru to make Vasudevakarya forget Meera forever, as a form of dakshina, offering. While apologizing to his guru, Vasudevakarya decided to leave Meera and move away. After that, Dushmat Maharaj got Meera married to Madhav. But this marriage did not last long. One night, Meera saw Madhav in his real, horrible form and ran away in fear to Vasudevakarya. She asked for his help, and Vasudevakarya took her to a foreign land, where the two got married. In the meantime, Meera gave birth to a son named Arjun, who was actually Madhav's son, and later a daughter as well. The story returns to the present day, where Mukh Purohit has now understood the whole truth. He tells Arjun and Vasudevakarya that the real mastermind behind all these tricks is none other than Dushmat Maharaj himself. In fact, Dushmat Maharaj wanted to free his son Madhav from the possession of Vidhusar. He knew that Madhav would be free from this possession only when Vidhusar was brought back to life. So, he made a plan to sacrifice 13 brides. The sacrifices of 12 brides had already been given. For the last sacrifice, he chose his own granddaughter, Meera, Arjun's sister. Under this plan, he faked his death and, through his will, invited Arjun and his sister to Mangalpur. He knew that they would decide to get married here, and his trick worked. Now, the wedding day was approaching. Arjun and his family realized that it was difficult to arrange a wedding without a solid reason, so they decided to have the wedding during the day, so that Meera could be taken to a safe place before dark. They also made sure that the entire bungalow was well lit so that the powers of darkness could not enter. But as soon as the wedding was over, Madhav arrived in his terrible form and turned the entire bungalow dark by cutting off the electricity. Taking advantage of the darkness, He took Mira away and reached the temple of Vidhusar in the forest, where Dushmat Maharaj was waiting to perform the final sacrifice. A dangerous fight broke out, in which Madhav was overpowering Arjun. But then, a piece of wood from the divine tree, the same tree in which the power of the Apsara was embodied, fell into Arjun's hand. He struck Madhav with that wood, which caused him to die. After that, Arjun also killed Dushmat Maharaj, which ended the process of bringing Vidhusar back to life forever. Arjun took his sister and left from there. The story returns to the present day at the railway station, where the old man finishes his tale. He says that he has been living in Mangalpur for years, making sure that the story of the brides never becomes a reality again. Hearing this terrifying and mysterious story, the four young men are